All right, okay.
I'd like to call this board meeting to order for the Lookingglass Rural Fire Department. We can say the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to do this a little different because I'm lazy. We got to swear in two of our new board members. Mark, would you like to stand up, put your right hand up, and read this thing right here, and we'll go from there.
I, Mark Bennett, do solemnly swear and affirm that I support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Oregon, and by the bylaws and rules of proceedings of the Lookingglass Rural Fire District, and that I will faithfully and honorably perform the duties of the office which I am about to assume.
Thank you. David, you're next in line.
I, David Smith, do solemnly swear and affirm that I support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the state of Oregon, and the bylaws and rules of procedures of the Lookingglass Rural Fire District, and that I will faithfully and honorably perform the duties of the office for which I am about to assume.
Roll call. Bill Starnes, I'm here. Dave Smith. Mark?
Here.
Bob Icola will be here shortly. Paul?
Here.
Fire Chief?
Here.
We're supposed to try to get, let's see. I guess we should try to swear anybody in, but we have to wait until the other person gets here to swear them in. So we'll go back to that. The swearing in is done. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Financial report. We wrote 13 checks for a total of, where is it? A total of 10,000 some odd dollars. Leaves a balance in our checking account of $5,147.50. We have $206,048.96 in our money market account, and we earned $8.75 in interest. I need a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Community, we don't have one yet, so.
You have my report and it was sent to you. It was posted online if you all had a chance to read it.
Does anybody have any questions about the communication report?
I didn't read it here. I didn't get a chance to read it.
We approved June 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Where are June 16?
They should come in with the board, and you can
Did-
email.
I'm sure that all these guys didn't get it unless they were on the board
Oh, okay.
at Lookingglass, because that's who I sent it to, and I'm not sure that that's.
I have board emails sent to their personal email addresses, so they should have received my report. They should have received the treasurer's report from Trista. They should have gotten I believe they should have gotten the agenda. I'm not sure about that.
It was before the end, it was before the end of the month, so I'm not,
For what?
for the agenda, the minutes, or no, the minutes, were for before the end of the month. I'm not sure they got the copy of the minutes. It depends on when you, because I sent the minutes for going to the bank before the end of June. And if they weren't set up, then they may not have got a copy of the
Okay.
minutes.
I also sent them the link to the director's page where the draft minutes were posted.
So
You may not have had a chance to look at them.
I can go pull a copy off my drive if you want.
I got it right here.
You know.
Did you guys get a chance to look at the minutes? You already approved those.
No, they're already approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll move it.
So what usually happens is I end up sending it to the board and then it goes through to each of your guys's. And it usually comes with a draft across it, and then once you approve it, then I What did you
Send
change?
it back without the draft.
Send it back up.
On the communications report, Jerry, I just want to let you know the district credit card did come in, so it's,
Great.
every time I do something now, they tell me I got it updated. And it's-
Okay, so we just need to
I just gotta
change
change
the
the date.
information. Okay, thank you.
Did you guys see the communications report? Did you watch?
You want to go? Communications report.
Yeah, I actually did that in there.
Maybe we can, hey, Bill, what do you think about, I hate to do it without Rob here, but I sent out a description of all the positions and stuff, so maybe somebody here has some positions they're interested in, and we might
Yeah,
fill.
that sounds good. Does anybody have any positions that they are interested in?
I'm not completely familiar with all of the duties yet. I can tell you I'm not technologically advanced, so trying to run Zoom and all that, I wouldn't be good in communications, I can tell you that right off of that.
Well, basically, President takes care of the agenda and takes care of basically.
You're already treasurer,
Right.
so we're gonna fill president, vice president,
Secretary,
and
and
communications.
communications.
If I may?
Yeah, go ahead.
Technically, I believe you would also have to have a vote on treasurer's position, because each time there's a change, I believe all positions come up, but I'm not positive about
Well,
that.
I know it wasn't the last time.
Yeah. We're supposed to do it every July, but,
Yeah.
Okay, I nominate Bill for treasurer.
well, there you go.
All in favor? Aye.
Is there a second?
Yeah, he seconded.
Rob.
He seconded.
So,
Public chair.
you got that?
Hey,
He
Rob,
nominated Bill for treasurer.
fill this out.
Yeah.
Mark seconded.
Thank you, Bill.
And what was the vote?
All in favor?
May I make a point of order?
Yes.
You might want to swear Rob in before you take the vote.
Okay.
Oh, we have
So you stand up and swear yourself in.
Yeah.
I do that.
Put your right hand up and read it.
My right hand on it, read it.
Yeah.
Up and read it.
Up and read it. I, Rob Icola, hang on, I'm gonna put on my glasses, guys, I've been out in the sun all day.
How were the grapes?
They're good, grapes are good. I, Rob Icola, do solemnly swear and affirm that I support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Oregon, and the bylaws and rules of procedures of the Lookingglass Rural Fire District, and that I will faithfully and honorably perform the duties of office for which I'm about to assume.
Just sign it.
Just
Okay, what we're trying to do now, Rob, we're trying to figure out who's gonna be
Some
president,
officers.
vice president. And we're asking if anybody wants to volunteer for any of the positions.
Gotcha.
So right now I nominated Bill for treasurer. He seconded, and we were gonna do a vote as soon as you're done signing.
Good to go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the other positions, since they're not just kind of, there's details under each
Right.
position, should we maybe kind of look at that?
Well, I understand that Steve sent everybody out a copy of it. And from Jerry, do you have some suggestions on, you know more about the books than anybody else on this board, including me. But am I right, the president basically runs the meeting and does the agenda, the vice president fills in when he's not there, and the vice president is in charge of basically going through inventory and doing stuff like that?
Right, and if there are critical issues with other agencies, contracts, things like that, the president typically handles that in conjunction, I think, with the chief.
Okay. And of course, secretary does the minutes and takes care of that.
If I may also, the secretary and communications officer share responsibility for the operations manual. So certain things like recording the binders and keys turned in by former officers really should be recorded in the operations manual. There's a sheet, a log sheet for recording those kinds of things.
secretary also works with the communications officer for documents to be sent to them to be uploaded to the website and stuff like that.
Who knows anything about computers?
Nothing.
Rob?
Marginal. My wife's better than I am. She's not a board member.
David?
Computers don't scare me a bit.
Okay, all right.
He just volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, it's like, I mean, I want to be the most use to the board and the station. Yeah, communication, I don't mind that.
You might be the best
I know,
qualified.
I suck at taking notes, excuse me. I am not proficient at note-taking and
Well,
stuff like that.
you worry about the secretary, they take notes, you just gotta make sure they get them in the newspaper, on the internet, and post it, right, Jerry?
Right.
And sent out to the board members.
Could we have a meeting to kind
Definitely.
of cross-training, handoff?
Right.
Then
I wouldn't mind sitting in that meeting also.
Sure.
I've kind of, Jerry's been doing this now for a lot of years, has really set this up for us, and I've been able to ignore it, and I'm really happy about that, but at the same time, I haven't learned how to do it either, or, you know.
Well, if that's where I could be the most use to the board and the station, I volunteer for communication.
So we need a nomination,
I'm not nominated.
and I'll second.
All in favor for David being communications?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? You got it, kid. Here's your book. Here's your keys. We still have to get,
Another, one part of that job too is the communications officer has the backup mailbox. So if I'm gone or out or something, I would call you and say, hey, we need to collect mail, or open the box out there on the street. Sometimes, time-specific stuff comes in, but, so that's your key.
Just for the mailbox?
Yeah.
one's for the mailbox and one's for the file cabinet.
So what's left then between us is president, vice president, and secretary. Nomination, volunteer.
I was vice president in 5th grade, and I did a pretty good job, so.
No, you're qualified.
Well, let's see, we gotta go president first, because from after that, he's gotta run the meeting. So, nobody wants to volunteer, anybody wants to make a nomination for president?
Well, I think vice president is pretty close to the president, so,
No.
no? All right, I will volunteer to be president. If nobody else wants to do it, I'll do it.
Okay, all right.
The best assistant I ever had.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
right.
It's all yours, kid.
All right. We were just fighting over that job, weren't we? Okay. All right, so Mark and Rob, you want to be vice president. So I'll nominate you for vice president.
Can I second it?
Somebody else has to say so, don't
I'll
they?
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that makes you secretary.
Okay.
No, what's that?
I would like to say that the secretary is responsible for ensuring that the minutes are done. So we've been using one of my volunteers, and she's actually a paid administrative assistant here for 8 hours a month. Is that right? So, I mean, that's a possibility too if you don't want to.
Drag my
I
computer.
mean, that's somebody that you need to work with.
Okay.
just-
So he can hold the title and they could work
And
it.
there's duties to do, but they can work together
If she's willing to help.
willing to do it, and if she's not, well, that's
We'll figure out.
it's not too hard a job.
And it's always on the computer too, it's on the screen, so you can,
What I do is I take notes with the agenda, and I go home and watch the video,
Yeah,
and then I
and
do
you
the
can tell what it
minutes.
is. I can take shorthand, I'll make very brief minutes.
All right, so we need a nomination. I nominate Rob for secretary.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
All right, up to it, and it's public comments right now is where you're at.
Any public comment? Is anybody on Zoom?
No.
Let's get over watched.
We got some other members here from the public. I might introduce, Alan was our previous vice president. Just, his term just expired.
Looks like you guys are gonna do a good job.
Bob, yes, Bob Scott. I think it's Smith.
Yeah, I know.
There's
Yeah,
Smith.
there's a couple of Smith.
Bob Scott's my assistant chief. He's a retired division chief from Roseburg. He's in charge of our training program and just about everything else. He's been with us a couple of years now. 4.5. 4, oh Jesus.
I know.
Seems like 12, right?
We got him to take some load off me, but all that's happened is we've got so much more involved in everything in the state that I think that the load is the same or more, but it's okay. We have a really great reputation for our training and our certifications and stuff, and it goes back to him, so. Anyway,
I need your email and phone numbers and stuff, because I'll be sending you training rosters and info.
That reminds me.
Bob,
also-
just so you know,
Name, phone number,
clarification.
email addresses.
Their official positions here each have email addresses that will forward things to their personal addresses, and I'll be getting that set up probably tonight, correcting the forwarding. So if you send anything to the board, it will get to each of them.
Okay. I need that email.
that's easy.
Board at lookingglassfire.org, and it all will get forwarded to them.
And then Patricia here is one of my volunteers, and then she actually acts as, she's one of the only paid people we have, and she is a contractor because she's a licensed accountant and educated accountant, so we can use her as a contractor instead of an employee. She gets 8 hours a month to do records, fire reports, training records and stuff. All of our training records, well, it may not happen before, but they go through UCC because they used to get credit for FTEs up there for the school and everything.
Do I have to send them there anymore?
So
I'm understanding that may be stopped anyway. So now you have a lot more time to help me. Thank you. Anyway, that's our public guest here tonight.
Any comments? No? All right, so then we're on to chief's report.
Chief's report, that was, I think you guys got a copy of it, right? I hope so.
I have it digital.
Everybody has
Steve?
one except me.
You want to explain, or should I tell you this, we don't read the whole report, we just give the,
Right, we were doing that because of Zoom. I don't know if you want to go back to doing
the
detailed
full
stuff
report. I don't
anymore or
know.
what?
That's,
No, no more detailed stuff? You want to go? Okay, so the stuff all gets posted on our websites and we can go over. I will say today we had a fire up on Impossible Lane over the hill, way out there, the last house in our district probably, one of the last ones. And it's kind of an indicator of how our department works. We had District 2 from Melrose Station. We had mutual automatic aid with them, so they responded to tender an engine. Actually, they ended up with and their battalion chief responded. We had an engine and tender respond, and eventually our brush truck and our command unit. Winston Dillard sent a tender 1760, and then 10 Mile had a tender. So it's a lot of mutual aid.
DFPA show up.
And
Oh, yeah.
DFPA had multiple engines because
they had 7 people.
that's in a wildland area, and that really could have been a bad thing. We had a shop with 2 fuel tanks, tractors, ATVs,
Backhoe burned up,
3 piles of firewood.
and it was trying to take off down the hill,
Kind
and
of
the DFPA trailed it
So we were looking, I think the next stop would have been
over here.
over towards Rob's house.
Thanks a lot, right?
Yeah, Bill would have seen it about it. So June of 2021 was a fair. We've been having a lot of months with 30 calls. We were down to 19 calls. We had 1 structure fire response, and that was with 10 Mile fire. That burn trailer was out here for a month. Almost 2 months maybe. We we were burning that thing every week. I think the folks here are all tired of that burn trailer. We also used it the last week to do a state certified instructor class here, and so the state's DPSST live fire instructor came down, and we had instructors from all over Douglas County
11 of
over
them.
here, and got the class and got certified. So it's a new certification. When we get a house donated to us or something like that, there's a whole bunch of standards we have to meet now, so nobody gets hurt, basically. And it's kind of hard to do that, to burn down something under control without hurting anybody. But then we want to put them in live fire conditions. We want to put them in smoke. It's hard to simulate a lot of times. So, also, as part of that training, our new SCBA's came in from the grant we got. So we've been using those weeks and weeks under fire conditions. So it was probably a perfect way to break those into our new people. We've had a few little minor equipment issues this month that are going to be sticking around for a little bit. We got these fancy roll-up doors on our water tender, and one of them broke a spring. It's just like a giant, like the garage doors are. The spring inside this thing broke, and parts are hard to get. It's going to be a couple weeks. So if you ever look at the tender, that's what's going on with the right door. Let's see. We had our breathing air system. It has an annual maintenance. We had that done. New SCBA's are in service and on the units now. Working on surplus in our old ones. There used to be a monetary value for them. So many people are getting new SCBA's right now that up till a year ago they were probably worth $900 a piece or something like that, and I don't think they're worth that anymore, maybe $300 a piece. So we're going to try to find something to do with it. Our bottles have a 15-year service life. They have one more year left on them. The ones that we have, they're a carbon fiber wrapped aluminum, and they can't be hydrostated or anything anymore. They're done. So they're kind of worthless, at least for the fire service.
Are we replacing those as we go now, Steve?
So the ones we got were 30-year lifetime warranties on them. So they've increased the weight a little bit, which increased the weight of the air packs, which everybody's complaining about. But at the same time, we don't have to buy bottles for 30 years. And they're about, right now, today, they're $900 a piece. And we have 20, let's see, we got 14, we have 28 of them. So it's a significant cost for our department. Facility, not too much happened. We've been replacing some fluorescent lights, brush hog and trim. If everybody knows we're in a high watershed dispatch or high fire danger right now, so you can still trim before 10 and after 8 at night. And so we did that at Brush Hog at the train station. For office and admin this month, we have the budget and resolution were approved. Most of you guys know all about that because you're on the budget committee. I got everything's been submitted to the county clerk and the assessor. It's in. Wheeler Bookkeeping got the budget, and so they put it into their Excel system so that from now on, when we get the printouts of the accounts, which are in there somewhere, it'll all be in there. Our current budget will be in there with each line item and account. We'll print out so I get these reports every month. So this is all the line items and what we spent for that month and what we spent for the year and pending thing, and what's actually budgeted for the years over years. So we use this at the end of the year to do the audit, or the in lieu of audit, an annual review, which will be coming up. That's due by September 30th.
Everybody should be receiving those on their emails from Wheelers.
Yeah. Tonight's treasurer report was a little expensive. What happens this time every year in July is the workman's comp bill comes in. That's about $2,500. And we also had a leftover $6,352 from the SCBA grant that was our share that we had to match. So this was the last part of that. Safe personnel. I had told you guys that I was going to set you up on Safe Personnel is a training system that goes through our SDAO, Small Districts Insurance Company. So they have some real good videos on how boards work and public meeting laws and all that kind of stuff. And they're pretty interesting. The guy's a really good speaker. So they just sold out to Vector Solutions. So I've been messing around all week with them because they changed the website. So first of all, I got to find them where they are, and then is that the first round?
Somebody's working on something.
Then and then a couple of videos are being a couple of our videos are not available right now, so they must be upgraded or something. But anyway, I've got that all set up, and now we know who is who. We have a list of everybody's name, and it'll go like president for LRFD, so that's your username. You log on, there's no password or anything, and then you can go into any of these classes. SDAO, the small districts, they require us, if we want to get discounts on our insurance, to annually, they'll pick a subject. This year is cybersecurity. So they'll have us watch the class online. It could be 20 minutes long. It might be an hour long. It's the longest one I think we've ever had. But they're usually pretty good classes. And if we watch them, then we get credit towards, when it all adds up, it's 10% off of our liability insurance, which is usually running around $12,000 a year. So it gets us a couple, $1,000 or something. So, anyway, so I'll have that set up, and I'll get all that out to you guys pretty fast. And then I think we were, and the same with Jerry. We just had to get everybody what positions everybody was in. One last thing, I should have added it to the agenda, but our door. You guys, once you're sworn in and everything, we have a combination door lock on our station. So what I'm going to need to collect from you guys in the next few days is a 6-digit number that you can remember. We have some programmed in there that are just random, but it's kind of hard to remember those random ones. Everybody uses. So if you can get a 6-digit number, I'll just come to you and ask for it. If you don't, or unless you have them tonight, we can leave it. One of our captains, Rich Chitwood, comes in. His dad owns a locksmith company. They come in and program things so that everybody has their own. And at the same time, we'll remove Jerry. I don't want to remove him until we have these classes.
Until we get it all worked out.
And we'll remove Alan because we don't need him anymore.
Last time of the year.
Anytime you want to come in, knocking, I'll let you in. But so in our bylaws, that part of the deal is for security wise is that every time we collect keys, change the lock. What's good now with this new lock is we don't have to change the combination for everybody. We just pull one person out, pull one person in. It also gives us all kinds of abilities to monitor who's coming in and out of here and that kind of stuff. We've never had that issue, but one thing that happened here in the last 2 years is we got a grant for a security system. So everything around here is, we have 8 cameras on the grounds and it's recorded. So we know who's coming in and out of here. And we have the ability to video it as we I'm done.
All right, so then I think then we're on to old business. Is there any old business?
What were we talking about last month?
Well, last month we were talking about the budget, that's all taken care of. We were talking about the new positions, and that's all taken care of.
I don't think we have much old business.
The only thing we were talking about is making sure we go back to Tuesdays. Oh, wait.
Wednesday.
Second Wednesday.
Second Wednesday.
Yeah, that was
Um, I think we already addressed whether or not we want to go to full talking about the minutes or just doing the quick rundown and posted a copy on that. Where we're not talking about everything, where you guys, for Zoom, we shorted the reading of communications and stuff.
Yeah, I think the board
Yeah.
members were saying they'd like to
Yeah.
continue
So
having
that's-
the option to dispense with reading full
I think that was
reports.
one of the things that were talked about possibly.
Well, they just mentioned it tonight.
Right.
So, there you go.
I mean, if we're not reading the full report, the report's still on the website, so people
Yeah,
can
if you
still
would like-
access it and all
If you would
that.
like to continue that process, yeah, so the CEO I can work with Dave and show him how I've been posting all the various documents that are needed for the meetings on the director's page. And each month that gets changed, for the current meeting.
Okay. All right.
Any old business coming up, we don't really, we're just coming into the time of year when we start submitting for grants and everything. We have the VFA, the Volunteer Fire Assistance Grants and Matching Grant, that we have $20,000 to mess with. We'll start buying that stuff now we're in the new fiscal year. I think it's gonna be a long fire season, so it's gonna be real interesting this summer. We've already had units on the Jack, what is that called? Jack Creek Fire. We had a tender, guys out there. They asked us to go out again the other day, and we offered them a unit, but we have to go in five, what they call strike team, 5 like units, and nobody else in the county could take up any more units, because we already have another one that I think is up there, and they've been moved over to Chillicothe or something, so. But just from what DFP has been talking about, we're a month to month and a half ahead already on fire weather and fire danger, so.
Are we gonna do the same thing if we send guys out to fight fires like when we get reimbursed? Are we gonna do the same thing?
I think so. What he's talking about is if they declared a conflagration, and they did at the Jack Creek Fire, that the state reimburses us at a rate. And the volunteer reimbursement rate is $15 for firefighters an hour, $17.50 for the engineer, the driver, and about $19 for the accountant. And then they pay us $50 an hour for a brush truck, and they'll pay us $60 an hour for a tender, and then a regular fire engine will pay us $100 an hour. So last year, I think we got $11,000 payment from the state for the Archie Creek Fire. We were up there about a week with the brush truck. And then $7,000 of that came to the department for the money of for using the units. So we put that in a equipment fund. And then basically what happens when we go out, and it's kind of a technicality, but it's, we as volunteers are hired as contractors. So our policy, I don't think it's an official policy in the department.
No,
It was,
the
but
board
usually
voted for it last time, and I just wanna make sure
So
the board
we-
realizes.
and you guys would do that again if you want to, or not, it doesn't need a with it. We forward that money, we figured it out hour by hour and forward it back to the firefighters that went out. So, but normally the money actually, the majority of the money goes to the department because it's for the units that are used. And they're paying for maintenance and, use and whatever. Yes,
May I?
there's a public, yeah.
I'm just wondering if maybe there should be an amendment to the fiduciary policy to put that,
To adjust it,
policy
yeah.
about monies for firefighters, that it should go back to them for their hours.
Yeah, we could do that in the near future, so, right.
Yeah,
so-
that way it's clear.
These folks, in your books and everything, you guys will have all these policies. All these policies got written, must have been about, well, the last time that this happened, that we had 4 board members at once, was 12 years ago maybe, and that's when all these policies were written and everything, so it's really rare, because a normal year, it's either 2 board members or 3, and because of our secretary's medical thing, we had an extra position open up for this election. It kind of puts you guys at disadvantage to start there. I'm sure you guys.
Sir, can I clarify something on mutual aid? Jack Creek is in Douglas County, which is mutual aid. So the whole county sent people on the first day. That's what we did, sent the first crews up. The next morning, they released all of the Douglas County units, and it brought in task forces from all over the state. Mutual aid, we don't get paid. So we could be stuck for the first 72 hours, I think, without pay, but they immediately conflagged it and brought us back and brought in everybody else. What they called for was for us to leave the county But the kicker is they want a crew for 2 weeks and we can't do it.
Mhm.
We don't have enough bodies or free bodies to send them for a 2-week stint.
Page departments do that as kind of a fundraising, and then plus they're helping everybody else, but that's their job, you know? When, last year during Archie Creek, we had a guy that was fired, he went out one shift, and his boss said, I'm not letting you go next time. And that's supposed to be a state law or something, that you can't fire a volunteer if he's out, but, he didn't press it, 'cause I think that there was an issue with his job anyway, but, the second day he went out, his boss said, don't bother coming back, so. I don't know. I used to go out on those things for weeks at a time when I was a paid firefighter. To leave my ranch, I leave for 2 weeks, you know, or something. And it's real important here in Douglas County. We don't have a lot of resources in Douglas County, and I appreciate that they gave them back, especially during that run of weather we had the last couple of weeks. And that's good. If the rest of the state's not burning so bad right now, we can use them, that's for sure.
That's good. So, I think we're on to new business. Do we have new business, or that kind of was old business, new business conversation? Was there
Do we have any new
anything?
business on our agenda?
I didn't see any. Let me see what that was.
We were talking about, we have an orientation kind of requirement, and I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna do that.
You mean for them?
Yeah.
So come,
Yeah, as far as,
come to drill tomorrow night.
Oh, you know, that's a good point that he's bringing up right now. It is a responsibility of each board member to attend, what is it, once a month, the trainings of the volunteers, so that you become familiar with the operations of what's going on. Or at least one board member, I
Right.
believe it is,
Right.
should be attending at least once a month. So, you know, if you want to rotate off, you know, try to figure out who, or if, for something like that, Steve, I'm not sure how it would work for them, for more than 2 people to attend the same time without it being considered a board meeting.
yeah,
So, you know, if 1 or 2 of you could attend once a month.
you guys
that would
are
be
always
great.
welcome, that's for sure. And part of the orientation, I think, and part of the deal I was trying to do with safepersonnel.com is there's a whole bunch of rules about having more, like if more than 2 of you guys get together and talk about this department, well, you can talk about our fire truck, but you can't talk about making a decision, for example, because it's outside a public meeting.
Right.
And that's just, so there's a million little things like that that we have to kind of watch out for. Ethics. We had our water tanner company a few years back gave somebody an embroidered jacket when they're done. Well, we can't accept a gift over $50.
Is that 25?
It's $50, but,
Or is it?
yeah, so.
Well, under current inflation, it's 25.
Yeah, no problem. But, so there's a bunch of little things like that, and that's what the SDAO will do, is cover that kind of stuff. Now, they're doing this board member training right now all over the state, but none of them are real close here this year. They're doing one in Brookings, Sun River, they're doing all these fancy resorts this year, but,
Is that where they get the SDO notebook, the board of directors notebook?
they get that, but that's like a full 8-hour class too. And we were lucky the last time this happened with our board, that they actually came here and presented that class to us in that range. And I could ask them to do that again.
I mean, since we have all these new people,
Right.
it's not like you're training one person, you'd be training everybody.
The fourth one they're doing is gonna be they're gonna have it as a webinar virtual also, so.
I know it was well worth it.
Yeah.
That's
The
kind of-
gentleman was great. Is it the same guy?
George Dunkel, yeah. Anyway, so getting safe personnel up, at least we can, they have classes on public meetings, ethics and that kind of stuff, which are those things. And most of, it's like a 5-part deal. I think the total of it's 80 minutes, but they're like in 10 or And that keeps us all legal, which, we wanna do that. And our insurance company, SDAO, they're a great resource if anybody ever has a question about governance, because basically, it's kind of an entry-level government position. People have used this government position to move on to the state legislature and everything else, so. And it's all the same in Oregon, regardless of how big your district is or anything. The laws are all the same on public meetings and ethics and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So I wanted to say, communication-wise, internet, email, that kind of stuff. For 10 years, I was the IT person at Bayline, the boat manufacturing facility. I got away from that and went to accounting. But my current job, I set up all the emails, I take care of all the iPhones. I still have that background, so.
Okay.
Not that I can help very much, but if you ever need help, or Steve needs to do something because you go on vacation or do those kind of things, I can step in and do a little bit of that kind of stuff. And the same thing with me, I'll work with Rob to get the minutes out, and I can help redo books in the future if we need to upgrade, because I think someone said something about upgrading the binders a little bit.
Yeah, once we
Yeah.
collect them all, we go through them. Like, it's supposed to have a current budget in there, so you guys know what the budget is. or what you're gonna-
I can assist in lots of things. I was working 2 jobs and now I'm not now, so I have more time to work and volunteer.
Yeah, one other thing, I guess in the business, a couple of our board members in the past, and I think Bill still is, although he didn't get the thing today, and Jerry, you were for a while, right? You were getting our calls, or at least notifications?
Yes, I was gonna ask, because you should be
Yeah.
taking me off of that.
I didn't get it, I was surprised.
Yeah, so we have the ability through either Active 911, which is a service we provide, which uses our cell phones to alert us. We can, the county also has a SMS texting, so when we get an alarm, they would text you, and it's not like you're supposed to respond or anything, but at least, you know what we're doing. And then like, in the middle of the night, it might annoy you sometimes, but, if anybody's interested in doing that, we can set that up. Just,
I still want it, especially if it's close by, sometimes I'm there before you are, you know.
yeah, and you reported, for some reason, you seem to have, whatever happens in Floating Valley, you seem to be driving by. And
No, I'm right around the corner, I'm right around the corner from a guy ran into a ditch and wrecked, and somebody called, yeah, it's on the corner of Flournoy Valley and Melrose. No, it's about 4.5 miles up the road, you know, and it happened to be a doctor I know, it happened to be his son. What was it, busted lung, or ribs and lungs and all kinds of crap. And, you know, so.
But if you guys are interested in that, we can do that. And if we have something big, I always try to get in contact and just let you guys know. If we have people going out of county, I tell everybody just to let them know. And if we have a big fire, I try to let them know damage and the cause and stuff. We're kind of tied on medical. Even sometimes we don't even get feedback on medical because all the HIPAA stuff and everything. But we can certainly tell you about what's going on in the community. So,
Did you finally catch the gal you did catch the gal that ran into that guy?
yeah,
I
that's
ran
still going on.
into
Being indicted.
Yeah, I talked to a guy that races up at my place, and he's run into her before. And I guess she took off down a ditch in the berry bushes, half dressed, and she's out on drugs all the time. It's rough, you know.
So, I think we're down to President's report, and I have nothing to report, so,
I have a question before we move on.
yeah.
Can we expand a little bit on things that we should be and all that exposed in the station? Coming to the drills or whatever, is that somewhere written down or? Like you said, at least one board member a month kind of thing, where is that in the scheduling? And
That's in
what-
our policies,
It's
it's on
not
the
scheduled,
policies,
it's
but
just-
the procedure. We have a bylaws and then we have a policy manual. That's only about 6 or 7 pages. I sent most of it to you guys that had the listed positions. and then we have a fiduciary policy. Fiduciary
Yeah.
policy.
He's the one that can pronounce all the words.
So, and it tells us how we can spend money, basically, the taxpayers' dollars.
So,
Yeah,
Look at the binder.
yeah, so it's probably,
It's all in the book.
and I think.
What about the schedule of times and whatnot?
well,
There's no schedule, basically.
Yeah, we never.
we could always do it for next meeting as a new business to set up a schedule for you guys to come down.
Pick a month.
Pick a month.
Yeah.
So we meet Thursday, our regular meeting nights are Thursday night at 7 o'clock for our fire department. You guys are always invited, and if there's gonna be a conflict of worrying about directors at public meeting, I'll keep you in different rooms or something, I don't care. And you guys are always welcome here, you guys are, first of
long
all,
as we
you're all
don't-
taxpayers in our district.
As long as we don't talk about the fire department, we can go out and watch
Make
and do whatever we
decisions,
want to. You know, you just can't talk about.
Just observe.
Business, yeah. You can't
Just
talk about
observe.
business.
But you're always welcome here.
So that's Thursdays at 7?
It's Thursday nights at 7, yeah. And then we have Bob, like he said, he's real good about putting out our schedule, which is up all the way across the back there. We hope, as we get updated, I know Jerry was getting it all the time, the updates, and as we change stuff. We do have some Saturday drills, we come in special things if we're spending a long time. We got a lot of certification type stuff going on all over the county right now, but you guys probably would want to go to those. Anyway, you're always welcome here on the routine nights, and once you see a calendar, or if you see something you're kind of interested in, you can certainly come.
September 25th is Saturday, we're hosting a regional LPG live fire. So that's usually fun to watch.
21st?
25th. I will send that to all of you tonight.
That's about it.
Anything else?
So Dave had any other board member comments is the next one on the list.
Well, I don't have that on here.
So who should I talk to
They're
about
not-
Oh,
making sure you've got my right email address?
Well, probably him. And,
Jerry?
yeah, Jerry's gonna,
Me eventually, but not
I got
yet.
the second page here, so we're up to page 11, number 11. Oh, you didn't have the second
I
page.
didn't have the second page to copy.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, I thought we were almost done.
We are.
We pretty much are.
All right, so director's report. Anything to report?
You all picked offices.
Yeah, we did that. Board member comments? Any comments? We've had lots of comments, I
I
think.
just wanna thank all you guys for pitching in and helping. It's been some rough weeks, some rough years, but it's been good the last few, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
I want to thank that man for everything he does for us, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to thank that guy over here too. He's been around here a long time helping us out.
We're not gonna let you go too soon.
The good thing is that
Dave, make sure you get his phone number, and I know where he lives.
Why are you leaving now?
So you can take over.
And Jerry's also still a valuable member of Grange doing the same kind of stuff, so he's always been
around.
a big time community service person, that's awesome.
Okay. Any other comments? Public comments? Jerry?
Thank you all for serving on the board.
So our next meeting then is scheduled for August 11th, 2021
7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock. August 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
So I'll work with you, I know, we'll get you a Word document or something, that's the agenda, and then like, you know, during the month, if we just kind of approach us to talk about what we want on the agenda for next time.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but if something big's coming up, then we'll certainly put it on there so we don't forget it.
Okay. Well, I'm keeping an eye out for those emails now. I don't know where they were going before, but I wasn't getting them. I think they ended up in my junk folder or something. So now they're going to my company email. I'm getting them. So that's
I've
good.
I've noticed that if you have a Gmail account, when something comes in, sometimes it goes to your promotions folder,
Yeah.
your spam folder, your junk folder. It never seems to go to your emails.
Yeah, even when I search, like I go search for Lookingglass Fire Department, it didn't come up, and I have Yahoo as my personal. So, but my company email, I have my own server, so I manage that, so. I don't, I have somebody who does it.
I do want to tell you as you go along, STAO, I have to send an update sheet now that I know what position you guys are. So in the past, some people have done their own personal addresses and emails and phone. Some people, we use, our default is to use Lookingglass. We use this as a business address, 679-5555, our answering machine has a phone number. So you can do it either way, because if you, there's a lot of good stuff to come from SDAO, but if you do get on their contacts, using your own number and stuff, you're gonna get a lot of messages and stuff.
Yeah, I get them quite a bit, and
And a lot of
I
it's
take care of
good.
them, and I pull them over, I have a whole
Yeah.
folder for Lookingglass, and I slide them over so they're all on my computer.
A lot of it's good stuff, but,
A lot of it's
send a
a
lot of
pain.
stuff.
Yeah.
And, anyway, so I'll ask you guys what you want to do about that too, because, we try to, like Jerry's talking about, we try to keep it, the business stuff under our business, under our website and under our webmail, so that that kind of stuff doesn't get mixed up with your personal business. For sure.
Could I add a comment to that? If you would prefer to be able to directly access your district email account, rather than having email, whatever comes, including spam emails, phishing emails coming to your personal account, forwarded from the district, I can give you the information on how to access directly your district email account, once I've got them set up. And we'll also need to be changing all the passwords for all accounts for new board members. There's a district computer here where you each have a login to the district computer, as well as being able to access your district email from any device you have, cell phone, home computer, whatever. You can log into it.
Thirdly, if it hits there, it's forwarded to our personal email.
Right.
Well, yeah, right now, the way we're setting it up is so that anything sent to the board will be forwarded to each of your personal email addresses. Any emails that are sent directly to the communications officer or the web manager email address would get forwarded to your personal email address. If you don't want it, we could take off that forwarding, and you would just periodically check the CO's email and see if anything's come in that you need to look at.
Which you can add to your phone, and just like you do
Yeah.
your other stuff. Yeah.
You can, if you have multiple email accounts, yes, you can have links to those accounts,
I think I can do
so
that.
you can check them more easily.
Like, there's chief, CO, I send stuff just to him, not necessarily to, actually, I send stuff to him, then the board, and then I sent stuff just to, like, the copies of this to put, the drafts, I would used to send it straight to the communications officer and not to the board. But, because after you guys approve minutes, I go back, there's usually a draft copy, I take that off and send it to the communications officer to be uploaded to the website. One of the functions.
So I have one question with regard to, we're talking about a lot of needing to communicate with each other on and off site, and there's rules that say we can't get to, but if, let's say, one of us wants to meet with him, or one of us wants to meet with you to discuss how we're gonna handle some of our job duties and descriptions, that's okay, that's
Oh, yeah.
acceptable, right? Do we need to discuss that in the meeting forum, or is that something we can send an email and say, hey, can I get together with you and talk about this, or does that need to be also public information?
No, just two of us talking about anything, you can talk about anything you want.
Okay.
It's
You
the
can't-
best way to describe that is probably to watch what that guy says, Judge Ducko. And he
Yeah.
explains it, and then, so the other one is, what do they call that, a train or a party line call or something. Like if Rob called you and you guys talk about something and you make a decision, then you call him, now it's a public meeting. If you're gonna, even though all three of you aren't talking at one time because you guys said something, he said so, now it's a
Does it
public
have to be a
meeting.
quorum, or is it?
Well, I think
Well,
you
Because
can't have a
you
public
got,
meeting.
you got 6 board members, so 3 actually isn't even still on the.
Wait,
We only got 5.
Yeah, you got 5, so 3 is.
Okay, well,
But anyway, so that's the kind of stuff they talk about in the state or the legal interpretation.
My main question was like, 'cause there's a
No,
lot,
you can
lot
talk.
of stuff to sort out.
Right, right.
And we're gonna have to sort that out over this next month before the next meeting,
Right.
and that we can do, we don't have to do it all right now. That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right.
It sounded a little scary with like observing trainings on Thursdays. You know, like, 2 of us are here or something like that, and we're just sitting there watching the training,
yeah,
you know.
That's no big deal, as long as we're not talking. We
Business.
all 5 could show up at a training, as long as we don't talk business.
Right. Perfect.
We're talking about flowers and birds
Yeah.
and trees.
How's the fire truck running? And, you know.
All right, so is
Come
there,
down
there's,
and put on a suit. Come on.
Yeah, we'll dress you up, show you what it's like.
I wanna drive the truck through the,
Yeah.
all right. So then I think if there is nothing else, then we can end the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
I don't know who I'm missing, but I'm missing one of the applications or Zoom swearing in.
I think it's his